James Cortez had driven a taxi through New Shanghai's neon-drenched streets for 37 years. He'd seen everything, or so he thought. The holographic advertisements flickered across his windshield as he navigated the elevated skyways at 0200 hours. His ancient hydrogen cell cab humming steadily through the sparse traffic. That's when he saw her, a child. No more than 8 years old, stood at the edge of Platform 47, her small frame illuminated by the pulsing red emergency lights. But something was wrong. Terribly wrong. Her ears pointed and tufted protruded from silver-white hair that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly luminescence. Her eyes, when she turned toward his approaching vehicle, reflected the streetlights like an animal's. Twin moons of amber and gold. James pulled over, his weathered hands gripping the steering wheel. Every instinct screamed danger, but he'd been a father once. Before the colony wars? Before Emma. The child approached his cab with hesitant steps, her movements graceful yet uncertain, like a wolf cub learning to navigate unfamiliar terrain. She wore what appeared to be a thermal suit, though the material shifted and rippled as if alive, adjusting to the environment with each breath. "Please," she whispered, her voice carrying a strange harmonic quality, as if multiple frequencies layered beneath her words. "I'm lost. I need to go home." James's neural implant standard issue for all licensed drivers immediately flagged anomalies. Her biometric signature registered as non-human. The cab's AI systems began their automated alert protocols, but James overrode them with a manual command he hadn't used in decades. "Where's home, kid?" She held out a small device no larger than a button, which projected coordinates into the air. They led to the wastes, the abandoned industrial sector outside the city's protective atmospheric dome. "Nobody lived there?" "Nothing survived there. That can't be right," James muttered. "Please." Those eyes again, ancient and young simultaneously, filled with a desperation that transcended species. "They'll find me if I stay. The hunters." Something in her terror resonated with memories James had buried deep. Emma's face, the last time he'd seen her wearing that same expression of helpless fear. He'd been off-world, unable to save her when the raids came. "Get in." The child he decided to call her what she reminded him of climbed into the back seat. His cab's environmental sensors went haywire, detecting atmospheric composition ratios that shouldn't exist on Earth, elevated nitrogen levels, trace amounts of xenon isotopes, pheromone markers his database couldn't classify. "What's your name?" James asked, pulling back into traffic and heading toward the city's edge. "Lyra, of the Silver Main Pack, daughter of—" She stopped, her ears flattening against her skull. "I shouldn't say more." James nodded, understanding the weight of dangerous secrets. The journey took 40 minutes, each one stretching longer as they left civilization's comfort behind. The roads deteriorated, cracked and overgrown with bioluminescent fungi that thrived in the toxic environment. His headlights cut through clouds of industrial smog that the scrubbers never quite eliminated. The coordinates led to a collapsed warehouse, its structure half buried in contaminated sand. But as Lyra stepped out, something shimmered in the air, a cloaking field disengaging. Before them stood a ship, sleek and organic, its hull resembling flowing mercury frozen in time. Technology far beyond anything in Earth's arsenal. "This is your home?" James breathed. "My sanctuary. My prison." Lyra turned to him, and for a moment her form flickered, revealing something else beneath, a creature of pure energy, bound within flesh through technology James couldn't comprehend. "Thank you, James Cortez. Your kindness will be remembered." "How do you know my—" But she was gone, vanished into the ship. The vessel sealed itself, becoming invisible once more. James stood there for long minutes, questioning his sanity, before finally driving back to the city. He told no one. Filed no report. Went to bed as dawn broke. Certain he'd dreamed the entire encounter. The next morning changed everything. James woke to his apartment shaking. Not earthquakes, those were common enough. This was different, rhythmic, deliberate. He stumbled to his window and froze. 15 ships hung in the sky above New Shanghai, each the size of a city block. Their design matched Lyra's vessel, but magnified 1,000-fold. Crystalline structures that seemed to exist partially outside normal space, their edges blurring between dimensions. The entire city had gone silent, all traffic grounded, every screen displaying the same message in 100 languages. We seek James Cortez. He harbored our young. We come in peace to honor the debt. James's neural implant exploded with incoming calls. Police, military, the Planetary Defense Council. His location had been triangulated within seconds, but before anyone could reach him, a beam of soft golden light enveloped his apartment. He felt himself lifting, not with fear but with curious calm, as if the light itself whispered reassurances into his bones. He materialized aboard the flagship, in a chamber that defied geometry. At its center stood a being of magnificent terror, a Volf the size of a tank, its fur rippling with starlight, eyes containing galaxies. Beside it, small and smiling, stood Lyra. James Cortez, the being spoke, its voice resonating in his chest cavity. I am High Commander Fenris of the Looping Concordat. You saved my daughter when our ship crashed in your system. You asked nothing, expected nothing. In a universe of hunters and prey, you chose compassion. She was a kid, alone, precisely. Fenris lowered its massive head. Earth has been under observation. We have watched your species' potential, measured your capacity for both creation and destruction. You tip toward darkness, but individuals like you remind us that hope remains. Lyra stepped forward, no longer hiding her true nature. Energy and matter intertwined, beautiful and alien. The Concordat offers Earth membership, access to our technology, our protection, our alliance, all because one tired man chose kindness over fear. James thought of Emma, of all the lives lost to wars over resources that apparently were abundant throughout the cosmos, of the future humanity might have if they learned to see beyond their own survival. I'm just a taxi driver, he whispered. Exactly, Fenris rumbled, something like a smile in its cosmic eyes. You're exactly what the universe needs more of. Below, the fleets waited. Above, stars beckoned. And James Cortez, veteran taxi driver of New Shanghai, became the unlikely bridge between worlds.